Hey, who's here? Somebody's here. Hello, how you doing? Can you hear me? Uh-oh.
I can hear you.
All right. Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. I have to admit, I don't recognize you. May I ask who you are?
It's my first time. I'm Kathy.
Wonderful. So great. I saw how you did. You did pretty well last week. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I didn't start till Wednesday.
Okay, so that's only a 5 days. 7 pounds, and I think it was 7 pounds. Am I right?
Yeah, I'm totally excited. Totally.
7 pounds in 5 days is a really good pace. You're doing well.
Yeah, I lost 3 pounds the first day and then 2 pounds. And then it's been like a pound. And the last couple days I haven't done anything, but so I don't know. I'm doing the same thing. I did take like big bites. I don't know if I thought I would bites.
And that's so common. We just feel like we need more, and it's hard because as I say, I mean, you're trying to undo, 50 years of habit or whatever it is, right? 40 years. I don't know how old you are, but
40 years of habit.
40 years of habit,
that I've been fighting this weight problem.
So there you go. And so you're trying to unlearn everything you've learned in a very short period of time, and it's hard. And it's hard when especially like dinner, right? Because dinner's our big meal of the day. It's our family meal. It's hard to sit down and just eat a little bit. It just feels like it's wrong. It just feels bad or unhealthy, or you can't do it. But then again, why not?
Right.
And certainly you can't pass up dinner. You can't just go to bed hungry. I mean, we've all been told that that's a sign of punishment for something. No one does that. But then again, why not? So learning how to eat such a small volume is takes a lot of effort. It's not easy. It doesn't come naturally, but you'll get into it, and as we, progress, I think this is going to get easier and easier for you. And those bite sizes are going to shrink down. And when they do, oh my gosh, I mean, look out. The weight starts to just fly off the body. It gets really exciting.
I hope so. I was so excited. I've been counting calories for years, and I lost some weight and got down to about 145, and then I just gained it all back. And I went through menopause and had a hysterectomy, and I have not been able to budget. And I got your book in July.
Okay.
And I tried it for a while, and I lost 9 pounds, and then I've lost this 7. So
are the 7 pounds that you've lost since you've been here, are they in addition to the 9? So were you at 16.6?
Yeah.
Well, good for you. I mean, congratulations. I mean, I guess that's part of it. I mean, once you get started on this program, you are intrinsically, subconsciously, maybe consciously, but intrinsically, you're learning control, because you're learning that it's okay to leave food behind. It's okay to not finish it just because everybody else finishes theirs. And it's neat when you learn that, hey, I'm not going to be arrested, or I'm not going to be fined for throwing some food away. And once you do that, it's so freeing. You feel liberated. You feel like, oh my gosh, I can do this. And then when you start getting into it, you realize, you know what? I don't miss it at all. Once you start to realize that, it becomes so much easier to lose the weight. And then you're going to get to a point when your main focus isn't so much on how little or how much you're eating, but rather on how extraordinary you get to look and be. And you get to literally sculpt your own body and your own physique and your own, state of functioning. You get to mold it. You get to design it however you want. And that's really exciting.
It is exciting. I'm very excited. I've given up everything, and I didn't fall for a lot of fad diets or anything, but I have counted calories, and it's so ingrained, that
That's right.
you shouldn't lose more than 1 or 2 pounds a week. It's not healthy, and nutrition. And I had a couple questions. I don't know if there's other people on or not.
No, it doesn't look like it. It's just you and me.
Yay.
Yeah, so it's just, it's like a personal, consultation. It's great.
And thank you so much. You have so motivated me to just get it done, because I'm so sick of it. It's either just quit worrying about it or do it and get it done.
I love it. And that's exactly perfect. And that's it. That's exactly what it is. Just do it and get it done. And let's just be done with it. And then it starts a whole new life. And it's going to be really amazing at that point.
So is it realistic to think I could lose 10 pounds a week?
Absolutely. But it's hard.
Right.
Because here's the thing. Once you do it, you've done it, maybe you do one perfect week. And you're coming really close this week.
I'm coming close.
I'm not so sure about the weekend. It sounds to me like you might have slacked a little bit on the weekend. Maybe.
The hardest part for me, and I'm really proud of this, is I love red wine.
Okay.
And I always want a glass of red wine with dinner.
Okay.
And I haven't had one since last Tuesday.
That's pretty impressive.
I thought I could go 8 weeks. I'm going to commit to like 8 weeks. I can go 8 weeks without wine.
That's pretty impressive. I would have a hard time with that. And I love my red wine.
It's very hard because I can't believe how much my life centered around just having that little glass of wine. And I ate small dinners, but not 5 bites. But I was so all day looking forward to that glass of wine.
Okay.
And I don't think I should be doing that if I'm really serious about losing weight.
I agree with you. There might be a couple of really special occasions that come up between now and the point when you're done. So you might get in a little wine there, but really do try and stay as hardcore to the diet as you can until we're just simply done. Because let's say a special event, let's say a birthday, a really special birthday comes up. Well, guess what? That same person's going to have that same birthday next year.
Yeah,
next year you get to go and attend it in a whole different light, because you're no longer thinking about, there's no guilt. There's nothing about weight. You're not worrying about gaining weight. You have total control. It just makes every occasion so much more enjoyable when weight is not even an issue.
Right, because you're always thinking about it. And I've spent so many years wasted, I feel like, thinking about it. I don't want to do that anymore. And I have a really small family, but they're all meeting here on Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And that gives me like 8 weeks.
Perfect.
And I thought I should be able to get done.
Yeah, that's right. Let's do it.
And then I can have my glass of wine on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about that. And regardless of whether you're done or not, for sure, you'll get a glass of wine. So then here's also this. Thanksgiving's coming up. And on Thanksgiving, whether you're done or whether you're not done, it'll be a big meal. Good. You deserve it. It should be. Okay? So eat away. You'll be surprised at how quickly you fill up and how little food it takes to fill you up, even though on that particular meal, there are no limitations. Have a way. Just eat whatever you want. Try everything for sure. So at least you can get the sampling, everything there, and you can have multiple bites of turkey and all that kind of stuff. Great, you deserve it. But knowing that day's coming up, and it's not that far in the future, what is it, about a month and a half?
Yeah, right? I think there's 7 weeks now.
7 weeks?
But
so knowing that that's a long way off to adhere strictly to the diet just for that. If an event like that were coming up and we're only 3 weeks away, say, it's easy for me to convince patients, look, come on, don't eat for 3 weeks, just 3 weeks, because on the end of that third week, that you can have this feast. Well, knowing that these days are coming up, it sort of allows us to really stick to the diet, because this isn't forever. You don't have to torture yourself forever. There's going to come a break.
Right.
And of course, once you do hit your goal, you're done forever. Then you are done.
Well, and that's where I'm a little afraid of, because they give you this statistic like 99% of people who lose weight gain it back, and I've lost weight before and I've gained it back, and I'm really afraid.
It doesn't happen with this. All I can give you are my statistics. Remember I'm sure you saw the Dr. Oz clip, whatever.
Yeah, and I've been watching all the chats too.
Great. I can't remember the exact number that I had. I just don't have it off the top of my head. It's something, I don't know, 16,000 or 18,000 whatever pounds. But that is net loss over some, 8 to 10 years. That's net loss. So these are all the people that I've been seeing all that time who started on the diet, and today we're 18,000 pounds or 16,000, I can't remember the exact number, pounds down.
Wow.
Right? So that just shows the sustainability of this particular diet.
And why is that?
Because you're literally establishing two things. Number one, you're establishing a new volume for your body that's right for you. That isn't based on the average that somebody sitting down at this particular restaurant should be taking in or whatever. I mean, it's just what's right for you, number one. And number two, as you're doing this diet, you're learning to become comfortable leaving food behind. And once you are comfortable leaving food behind, once it becomes second nature to throw food away, you just realize that once you're done, you're done. You don't even think twice about needing to finish food just because it's sitting there. And so you don't. You'll simply eat until you're full. Now, granted, once you're done, you won't be counting bites at all. You'll have no idea how many bites you take for a meal. You just
really?
You're full. Yeah.
So you don't count bites.
I have no idea how many bites. I mean, if you were to ask me how many bites I took for lunch today, I'd have to really sit down, and it would be an estimate. I'd say, well, God, I had a lot of that and that. I don't know. 30, 25, 40. I don't know. I'd have to sit down and figure it out. I don't know.
And so you maintain by the way you feel.
By the way I feel, strictly. You just eat till you're done. But you don't have that compulsion to finish everything, because that you've learned you don't need to do.
And is that what the 5 bites do then? Is that
indirectly? I mean, I'm obviously when you get used to sticking to 5 bites, you're getting used to throwing food away or leaving food behind or saving for later, whatever. Number one. Number two, the key, and here's the advantage of the 5 bites, it literally sets your hunger stat to that volume, so that amount of food does satisfy you. And It does take the edge off the hunger, and it is going to hold you through till the next meal. And then you do it again, and you just set your routine so that you eat twice a day, and you're hungry right before those meals. Granted, you're going to be hungry right before lunch and dinner, but you'll have your 5 bites. And you know what? It's as hungry as you were prior to that meal. It's amazing how those 5 bites seem to do the trick and fill you up, right?
Right. And after the first couple days, in fact, yesterday I felt better than I have felt for a long time. I slept well.
That's it.
I did get a little hungry before dinner tonight, but I waited.
Perfect. So what? And that's just it. And as we get rid of some of the inflammatory effects of the extra fat, the inflammation, the interleukins that the extra fat is just cranking out like this, we feel so much better. Our body's working better. We sleep better. You can feel it. And it's hard to put into words what you are experiencing. But that's it. That's what drives us. So once you feel that, you're like, I don't want to let go of that feeling. That was really good. I'll accept a little bit of hunger now and then just to feel this energetic and this clean most of the time. And
so is that how you maintain, or do you get on the scale and say, oh, I'm up 5 pounds, I better...
I know it. Here's the thing. Like, for example, let me give you an example. This summer, my family and I, we went up to Alaska. I've never been to Alaska. So we did we just visited Alaska and did it on a cruise. So through Alaska, and then it was it was a week on the boat, on the ship. It's a big ship. Of course, no access to scales, not worrying about it. We're on vacation, and we're on a cruise. And let me tell you, I'm sure, I don't know if you know about cruises.
Yeah, I did that Alaska cruise.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. It's endless amounts of food, and the food is good. I mean, of course, we had the sit-down dinner, and we had the wine and everything, every meal, and it was just unbelievable amounts of food. It was very good. It was a fun time when the kids had a great time. Okay. I just had a sense, of course, I'm conscious of all the food, so I am aware, and I am playing an aware game. But I just ate until I was full, and that was it, and I was done. And I didn't eat extra, but I did eat a lot of stuff because I wanted to try a little bit of everything, because there were so many different foods on the boat, right? Just all over the place. I mean, you go from one part of the ship to the other part of the ship, and there was a whole new arrangement of different variety of foods. You got to try it. On that week, I did not gain or lose an ounce. I was exactly to the ounce the same weight when I got on the ship as when I got off the ship.
Wow.
And I don't know how. I can't explain it. I mean, I told my wife, I said, I think I gained a couple pounds. I thought I must have had gained a couple pounds, but I got on the scale and I was exactly the same weight as when I got on, when we started the trip. So I'm like, oh, there you go.
That's great. Well, then I guess I won't worry about the maintenance right now.
No. And one thing also is forget the calories. I mean, if people start counting calories, it's almost a guaranteed failure. If you start counting calories or relying on calories, I guarantee you won't be able to maintain your weight. That's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, and it's heartbreaking. You just get so tired of it.
Yeah, it's just and who even say that whatever calories are supposedly calculated correctly for this item as food, that they're correct. Some foods are underestimated, some are overestimated. I mean, you
yeah, and then not to mention the fact that I probably way underestimate what I put in my mouth too.
I mean, it just goes on and on. I mean, there's so many reasons why calories are a horrible way to judge your weight. And then, of course, just look at society. Look where it's gotten us. Because when did we start counting calories? I don't know, maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, right? Look at how much more we weigh today. It's obviously a recipe for disaster. But not with this program. Go ahead.
Tell me, I don't quite totally understand the carbon thing, because you eat food, it goes through your digestive system, and I've had trouble. I haven't been able to, I guess I don't have enough food in me, but I'm not going to the bathroom as much as I used to.
Correct. Why? Well,
I'm not eating.
Put it in, there's nothing to come out.
So, but doesn't that play into your weight too?
Well, here's the thing. So whatever we eat, it's digested in the stomach, becomes sort of we call it chyme, or this almost gelatinous looking material, right? This food then moves through the 30 feet of intestines. And as it's moving along, everything that your body could use as fuel or energy or nutrition, whatever, is literally sucked out of the chyme, or the substance, right? It's literally just sucked out, leaving nothing, no carbon makes it all the way through the intestinal tract. Every bit of it's been sucked up. So people think, you know what, my body will just get rid of what it doesn't need. They'll eat a certain amount of whatever and it'll just get rid of the rest. It doesn't happen. Not when it comes to carbon.
It sucks all of that out, and then you defecate the rest of nothing.
It's absorbed into the body, and then it's all reassembled as sugar or fat. It's either stored in storage form for later use, which is fat, or immediate use, which is sugar. And they're constantly, fluxing between one state and the other.
Okay, I understand that, but what is the stuff that comes out?
Well, that's okay. So it's 90% or whatever bacteria. That's what colonized the inside of your intestines. But I want you to realize this: whatever is inside your intestines is outside your body. You don't even need to think twice about it until it's actively transported across the intestinal lining.
Okay.
So yeah, whatever's in your intestines, who cares? Now, it does contribute to your overall body weight, because obviously the whole of you gets onto a scale. You can't subtract stuff that's outside your body but inside the colon or inside the intestines, right? Technically, it's outside your body still. If substances weren't pulled across the intestinal lining, they remained outside your body, but in the intestinal tract. Do you understand?
So I'm wondering if maybe that's why the last day or two my weight, because I haven't gone, and I think I might be a little.
Maybe. So that will contribute to it somewhat, for sure. But if say yesterday you got on the scale, and this morning you got on the scale, and there was zero change in weight, you have to assume your body blew out roughly 3 pounds of carbon.
That's what I've heard you say.
Yeah,
so the carbon then is that stuff that gets sucked out of your intestine, and it either goes to sugar or to fat.
And then what happens once it's either sugar or fat? Well, that's its fuel source. That's the energy that we use.
And it would burn the sugar first, and then after that it draws from your fat?
Well, it's one and the same. As the sugar levels fall, your body's turning to the fat and breaking it down and making more sugar constantly. That's the way to look at it.
And the only other way besides getting that fat out is like liposuction.
Okay, so you're right. Well, there's a couple other ways. So the only way that our body gets rid of carbon is we breathe it out. The other way is through our kidneys. And in people who are diabetic, they will actually see them what we call spill sugar into their urine. In fact, in the old days, doctors would taste people's urine to see if they're spilling sugar. Lovely, right? But that's another way of losing the carbon. So you can lose it through your urine if you're diabetic or you're for whatever reason you're spilling.
But that's not healthy.
Not healthy. It's a sign that there's something already unhealthy that's going on. And then through here. Now, the other way that you could do is you could physically suck it out, like through liposuction. The problem with liposuction is this: you're getting rid of the fat that's between the abdominal wall and the skin, that the cosmetic fat that we see around our belly, and it doesn't really attack the most significant from a health standpoint. Doesn't attack that fat. which is the fat on the other side of the abdominal wall in our stomach section.
Surrounding your organs and stuff.
Surrounding the organs in the omentum, okay, which is this sort of flap of fat that overlies your intestines. That is such inflammatory tissue. Technically, that's what we should be targeting. We should stick a liposuction thing in there and suck up all that fat. But that doesn't look as good. I mean, it doesn't improve somebody's appearance as much as just getting rid of so that's why, obviously that's not going to happen.
I'm not going to do that. I was curious about the carbon because it kind of makes sense, but not really to me. So I was.
So do this. There was a great TED video on YouTube. I think that Neil on one of the chats, you'd have to go back through, but he had recommended seeing this TED video. And it was a great video that showed, somebody blowing up a balloon and then freezing down the gas in that balloon to minus, 300 something. And this balloon shrunk down, obviously all the gas froze down to a very, very small volume. And in it, you could see three phases. You could see a gas phase, you could see a liquid phase, and you could see a solid phase that was floating in the liquid. And
awesome.
The gas phase that was left is the nitrogen that we all breathe in and out of. Didn't change. The liquid phase was carbon dioxide it was oxygen that had frozen down to a liquid. And then what was floating on the liquid was this carbon dioxide. So you see it as a solid matter floating. It had such relevance. All of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, that's what I'm blowing out. I can see that what I'm blowing out has tangible weight. You can actually understand it. I mean, we can understand it if you get on a scale at night and then weigh yourself first thing in the morning when you get up before you urinated, you know that you're down a pound. And the only way that could possibly happen is by breathing it out. I mean, you can prove that to yourself. But it's when you see this video and you can see a physicist go over, just do this demonstration, because it really makes the whole process very tangible.
Okay.
So I recommend that. But the way that we lose weight is we breathe. And then we breathe, some 15,000 times a day. So you don't have to think about it. It's just constant. You're just breathing.
Good. So another question I had, everybody tells you that as you get older.
About 7,000. Go ahead. 7,500.
That's still a lot of grams.
In my head, so sorry about that. But it's about 7,500 times. In case, go ahead.
So, Eddie, with the carbon, then basically that's how you get rid of the fat, is through breathing it out.
That's correct.
Okay. So, everybody says, and you always hear that as you get older, you probably should weigh more, and you're never going to weigh what you used to.
That's absolutely baloney. It's 100% your choice. I mean, here's the thing. I will guarantee you today that I will never weigh more than I do now for the rest of my life, ever. It's a guarantee. If my metabolism continues to slow, I'll guarantee you I'm not eating nearly as much as I did when I was 16 years old and on the track team at high school, right? Running the country, I was doing I would put in 100 miles of running a week, at least.
Uh-huh.
I'll guarantee you I'm not eating anything near as much as I did back then, not even close. And as I get older, I'll continue to need less and less food. It's fine. I'll just make the adjustment in the amount that I eat. Because every time I eat until I'm full and I'm getting an opportunity to taste everything that's sitting on the plate. What more could I possibly want?
Yeah, it's just retraining. I have had times where I eat even when I am full.
Yes, that you need to undo. But then again, it's a learning process. You're not going to undo, as I said, you're not going to undo 40 years of learning overnight. It just isn't going to happen. But with practice, and the more that we interact and you read here and you start doing this and you get really comfortable with it and you get really excited about the end result, eventually it will become just second nature, become natural. And at that point, it's just life. It's just, you will sit there and you will scratch your head and wonder why everyone else in the entire world isn't doing the exact same thing, because it's just so natural. I mean, look at the other animals on the planet. I mean, every one of them. They don't sit there and use calculators and try and figure out how many, calories or carbon atoms are in a particular item of food. All animals seem to figure it out. And believe me, they're not as intelligent as we are.
Yeah. Okay? And the only ones that you see are fat are the ones that we feed too much.
That's right. I mean, that's exactly right. Right. We all just sort of know what's right. We have an intrinsic ability to know when we're full. And really, at that point, we should just stop.
Yeah.
We, as humans, have the ability to even take it one step further and understand, though, that there is a survival advantage, there's a health advantage to not putting extra on our bodies. Most animals do have extra, but we actually now have the advantage to know that keeping the extra off the body is even better for us. And if we start to run low, we can always turn to the refrigerator that animals might not have at their disposal.
Right.
So we have an opportunity here to get really, really thin and then maintain that effortlessly. But maintaining it is truly a natural effect.
Nice.
Just gotta get rid of the habits and the misconceptions that are floating around there. And as far as I'm concerned, everyone else can think what they want. That's their life. I'm not going down that road, though. I'm going to carve my own path, and hopefully, other people will follow as well.
Yeah, it's very exciting because I went, and I was trying so hard, and in my mind, it felt like I was being so diligent, and I couldn't break that 200-pound mark.
Right.
And it didn't happen until I lost those 9 pounds after I got your book, and I'd do it one day, and the next day I wasn't really committed, and then I'd do it. And
but here's the thing: even up to the point that you joined the website, you still had kept those 9 pounds off.
Yes.
There's something there, then, right? That just goes to show there's just something there. So great, and I think you got it.
Yeah, it just scared me because I thought I was going to gain them. So I thought I got to do something because I don't want to gain. I could feel myself losing a little bit of control.
No, you're doing great, and let me be here to assure you that don't be afraid at all. In fact, it just gets more and more exciting the more you learn.
Good.
Even now, now is really a great opportunity to really push hard because you've already gotten your feet wet. You know what it feels like. You're not eating that much anyway. Let's face it. So why not shrink the bite sizes down? Let's keep them small. Our objective then, at this point, should be simply to taste the food, just to get the flavor in, just to get that particular experience in. And then let's just hurry up and finish this thing so that really we literally don't ever have to think about food again in our entire life. How does that sound?
That sounds awesome. In fact, you told me, because I had a Snickers bar for lunch, and then I'd do a half a Chick-fil-A at night.
Okay, great. Yeah.
You told me to do a Snickers at night, so last night I did the Snickers. And
brilliant.
Yeah, it was
How'd you do with it? How'd you do with it? Just for the experience. I just wanted you to take something in for dinner that just was so wrong.
Yeah.
Or for what you thought would be just so wrong. It's just this isn't a dinner, but then again, make it one. And really it turned out to be quite amazing, huh? What an experience.
I put it on a little cutting board and cut it up and pretended my coffee was my wine, and I was just
I love it. And were you able to stick to just that without anything else?
Yeah.
You did really well last night then. Really, really
good.
I
did do well. And then I got up and I weighed, and it was the same as the day before. And I thought, but I haven't been able, I think I'm a little plugged up because I was used to going every morning, and I haven't for like 4 days.
So I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what you weighed. Let's just suppose it's 200. If you weighed 200 yesterday, I know you're less than that, but let's say you weighed 200 yesterday, and then, or the day before yesterday, you weighed 200. And then this morning when you got on the scale, you weighed 200. It doesn't, you blow out, as I say, roughly 3 pounds a day.
Right.
The most you could have taken in is the weight of that Snickers bar. But you've got to also count liquids. So, water, for example.
I drink a lot of water.
Okay.
And I've actually slowed that down a little bit.
Okay, so water is heavy, and you can easily take in 3 or 4 pounds of water in a day. So the question, though, that I would have is, why didn't you eliminate those 3 or 4 pounds within that day? And that could be due to salt intake for whatever reason. If your body is holding on to salt, and there could be other things, hormonal fluctuations tend to retain water. So you can hold on to water for periods of time. But I'll tell you this, over a week's period of time, all of that water will balance out. You will have diuresed once again. So
I thought maybe I'll just wait. I weighed this morning and put it on the website, and I thought I'm just going to wait till next Monday and put it on there. And
that's just it. And that's why I really encourage people who are just focused on the finish line to forget about weighing themselves on a daily basis. It'll be confusing at times.
It will. I got so excited the first couple days, and then it kind of slacked off. I didn't even want to come on tonight because
that's right. I hear you. But similarly, you might get on the scale tomorrow and you're down 4 pounds. You're like, what? How did that happen? Right? I mean, it's just bizarre. And then you start thinking, well, is my scale accurate? And there's all kinds of reasons why you can get these fluctuations. But once again, let's just focus on the finish line and then adhere to the diet. Because if you're adhering to the diet, you are absolutely losing weight consistently. And
yeah, it's got to work. It can't not work.
That's exactly it. And it has to drive you to whatever your goal is, right?
Absolutely. And it may have slowed because I thought I had to have such huge bites because
that's a big deal.
If I didn't,
That's a big deal. It is, and it can be a huge deal. Yeah. So yeah, but I think you got it. I mean, I'm very excited. I mean, it sounds to me like you are right on that you've got it.
I'm very excited. I want to get it done, and I don't want to mess around anymore. And for me to give up a glass of wine a day is huge.
It's a big deal. So let me ask you, who do you eat with?
Usually myself. It's my husband and I, but we don't eat at the same times. And
okay.
So it's usually just myself. Yeah, it does make it easy.
If he's not eating in front of you, eating a big meal while you're having your Snickers bar, then there's even less temptation.
Yeah, he does occasionally fix a big meal, but that's his food. He's worked hard all day. He can eat.
Yeah, for sure.
He doesn't have a weight problem.
Great. Oh, I love it. Well, you're going to do great. I'm really excited. Hey, Neil, welcome. How's waking up out there, huh? Just woke up?
Exactly.
Welcome. I'm delighted to see you. And, just talking here with Kathy, who's sort of new here, but she's doing great. So anyway, how are you doing, by the way? I haven't seen you update recently.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. I mean, I had a long holiday, and setbacks and back and forth, but keep getting back on the wagon, and the past couple of days have been very good.
So that's also it, Kathy. And another thing, if you do sort of stumble or you fall off or you plateau or even you gain weight, you can always just get right back on. And once you've done this diet a couple times, you realize it's not a big deal. You just do it. If you really, truly want the end result where you are just thin and done, then jumping back on the program is no big deal. It's not a big deal. It's not like you need to sacrifice something. The problem with most substitute diets out there tell you what you can't eat. And you still I just can't live like that. To not be able to have those things. But here, of course, we don't limit anything. Just learn to set the hunger stat to a reasonable volume, and you're good to go. So anyway, Kathy, Neil is the guy I was talking about who posted that post on the TED Tube video, right?
Yeah.
The demonstration of the physicist who blew up a balloon and then froze it down. It was just brilliant.
And that's just on YouTube.
It is on YouTube. He has the link on the website. You have to flip. I can't even remember what the name of your post was, but it was really good.
Right. So if I'll try to repost it or something like that, or
it's on there.
Yeah, I'll find it. In fact, Neil is one of the guys who has encouraged me because I've been watching the old chats. I thought, I love him. I can do this.
That's right.
And I wanted to tell him I'm so encouraged by him. So.
Yeah, that's great. See, hey, look at that, Neil. See how many people you're influencing. I think it's great.
Yeah, the truth is, there's a lot of people on the forum who have done very well, and then you see that, and what happens is they kind of come and go. I think because they really accomplished what they wanted
That's
to.
Right. And most people, what happens is just this, and this also happens to people who've never seen me, never read my book, never been on part of this forum, maybe not even Facebook or any of these other things. They hear about the diet. It makes sense to them. They understand it. And I will hear stories of friends who've dropped 100 pounds, and that was it. They just did it because it's intuitive and it makes sense. Although, I love working with you all here, and I think it's fantastic. And then each of you are out there setting your own example to the rest of the world, as Neil, you did for Kathy, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think this is great. Neil, I was going to come back to you, though. For you, I really, once again, I think you want the end result, right?
Right.
I'm trying to do everything I can to, get you going again, because I really want to see the big drops that we started off with.
Well, you should know I did. The last 2 days have been unreal.
Okay. Unreal good or bad, or just bad?
Unreal good, like 4 pounds a day or something like that.
It's brilliant. It's huge. That's huge. It's everything. So right. Doesn't that make you feel really, really amazing once it's actually done?
Right.
But once it's done, you're like, I just did that. I just dropped 4 pounds. I just dropped another 4 pounds. Oh my gosh, I mean, doesn't that propel you to do it yet a third day in a row or a fourth day in a row?
Right, and that's the brilliance of the plan. I think is that we can really drop weight as fast as we put it on.
That's it, and that also is what gives you control in the long run. Because once you learn how to drop a massive feast overnight, you've got it. So you'll go out to a big, holiday party, whatever, and you'll just pig out, and you'll eat everything in sight, and then some, and you'll go home in pain, but no worries, because over the next day you won't eat much. Might have just a Snickers bar for lunch that day, or a Snickers bar for dinner that night, and the next day you're right back to where you were when you went to the big party.
It almost creates a situation that I find is I can't overeat as much as I used to.
Correct, for sure, 100%.
And B, it creates a situation where you kind of like the pendulum kind of like swings back almost normally, regularly. Meaning, like what happens is you don't feel so well,
right?
So then you always follow it up by getting back on plan. It almost pushes you.
That's so true.
Because I had like a 3-day holiday here. It's very rare actually in Israel for this to happen. But I had 3 24-hour day holidays, and it's very much it revolves around a lot of food. Of food.
Okay.
Way too much food. Everyone admits it. But for me, what happened was every time there would be one meal that would be a heavy meal, and then the next meal, even though they're serving a lot of food at the table and everything like that, I'm saying it's not happening for me.
Yeah.
I know how terrible I felt last time, and why? Why would I want to? And I would just eat a little this, a little that, and then just walk away, and that's it.
And you know what? The thing is, also, as you're talking about the pendulum thing, you actually feel so much better as you're losing things than you do by overeating, so much so that you keep tending toward the losing part. And that's why over time, either you're consciously aware of it, you're not consciously aware of it, whatever, over time you just keep losing weight. And some people might actually get to the point where I have occasionally found myself where I wanted to keep losing weight. I wanted to actually get thinner than I am. I'm like, you know what? Got to screw my head on straight. No, I'm done. I'm where I need to be. I need to, I don't want to get any thinner. But you will get to the point where it's so easy, it's so effortless to lose weight. It's just, why not just keep it going, And the reality is we have to all have a little bit of reserves on our body because we've got to, get through the days, without, we don't want to start breaking down muscle or things like that. So we want to have a little bit of reserve on our body.
That's exciting.
What's that?
That's really exciting. And I think one of the sentences in your book that clinched it for me was, you'll always be overweight, or you'll never be thin until you learn how to lose weight faster than you gain
it. That's it. Well, that's exactly right. This was what Neil was just talking about here. We've got to learn how to lose it like that. And when you can drop 4 pounds in a day, oh my gosh! I mean, you would have a hard time gaining 4 pounds in a day. I mean, not initially. Maybe you could have initially, but certainly once your hunger status set, it would be torture to try and put 4 pounds worth of food into your body in a day. It would just be horrible. Unless you drank the 4 pounds, because you can. That's the one problem that I have with calorie liquids like sodas and things. Is it's pretty easy to put in a lot of carbon in liquid form because it doesn't really affect our hunger that much. Particularly if we take it in slowly. So I do give you that. But the reality is, where you are right now and where Neil is right now, I mean, you eat 4 pounds of food. That's going to be uncomfortable. You're not going to like that at all. You losing 4 pounds a day is actually easier than eating 4 pounds in a day, for sure. So, yay.
Excellent.
So I think you're doing great. I mean, I do. I think everything is just, it sounds perfect. So Neil, do you have any questions from the other side of the world?
Not really.
No.
I mean, I think the beauty of the diet is it's really pretty simple.
So let me ask you this. I mean, you totally got this, and you got it. Is there anybody else there who's doing the diet with you? Come on.
No, actually.
Because you
know that I don't do it.
You can't keep the secret all to yourself.
I don't do exactly 5 bites.
Okay.
You know that I
know that you do 3 by 5 or something.
3 times 7, pretty much.
3 times 7, whatever.
Is my I would say is my mid. That's my main. The easiest thing for me to maintain.
Wait, before you go on, Neil. Before you go on, when you dropped 4 pounds in the last couple of days, were you doing 3 by 7 to drop 4 pounds?
3 by 5.
That sounds about right. Okay, so go on with the 3 by 7.
3 by 5, I would say. So so there's a friend of mine who I mentioned this to and saw that I had lost weight, and I said, and he started doing 3 times a day, 7 bites, and he's just like, he's ecstatic. Like he said he's dropping weight, and he said that he's, what for us, like a lot of my friends here study Talmud for many hours of the day. So if you tell someone, to me, maybe in America, in our culture, the excitement would be having the body of your dreams, dropping the weight, fitting into the jeans.
Right.
I think in some of the circles that I am, it would be like what I told my friend was, your brain just functions better.
It does. Oh, remember, and there was that study, also another TED lecture on inflammation of the brain and how it affects higher level functioning, higher level thinking. And there's some 9 some odd studies or whatever that showed the inflammatory effects of the extra weight on our brain function. I mean, no doubt about that.
So I told us, I said to him, listen, you're gonna think better, you're gonna have more energy. And then this guy started doing that, and he's not massively overweight. He said, Neil, I love this. This is just great, because that's what he wants. He wants to be able not to be weighed down by a heavy meal. He wants to be able to function without having to sleep as much as he would otherwise. And he's finding all these advantages.
That's it.
So,
well, now,
sometimes I see someone and I feel bad. Like I see someone who's like very overweight, and I know that how much it could affect them.
That's right.
But I have to wait for the point where people are going to ask me.
Okay.
Better than volunteering the information.
I agree with that. I mean, I agree with that too. I totally understand. Totally know exactly.
Ready for the message.
That's right. And they have to be ready for it. There are many people who aren't, and you feel, boy, that person could really use some advice. Maybe I'll go talk to them. Believe me, it's not a good idea. If they're not ready, it's not a topic that you ever want to bring up. And I've learned that over my years. I've been doing this for a lot of years now. I don't know, some 10 years, whatever. I learned you don't ever approach somebody regarding a weight issue. For me, it's a little different though in the office, because somebody might come in for, say, high blood pressure or diabetes, and even though they don't want to talk about weight, I'll say, look, I need you to understand that your disease process is a result of the weight on your body. And I know you don't want to talk about it. I know it's like the last thing in your mind right now. You just want the medication to take care of the disease process. But here's the reality. The disease is being caused by your weight. And if we can lose the weight, you may get rid of this disease. And then people will start to perk up and they'll listen and say, okay, really, how? And then we'll go into it. So for me, it's a little bit easier to broach the subject, because I'm dealing with people who have severe consequences from the weight. But I've also sort of in a casual conversation thing at a coffee shop mentioned, I think that person should lose some, and that's not a good idea. Trust me. Okay.
That's like asking someone if they're pregnant.
That's right. Don't go down that road. So that was a lot of years ago. Never again. So that's pretty funny. So anyway, I'm really excited. I mean, what a great group here, huh? I think you guys are doing great, and I just know you're going to be setting brilliant examples for the world. I mean, we've got Neil working on the other half of the world for us. We've got Kathy. I don't know where you're from. Where are you?
I'm in Utah.
Oh, great, wonderful. You're in a beautiful state. I mean, gorgeous rock formations. Oh.
Yeah, love it.
Utah, setting a wonderful example there. I love it. I think this is just fantastic. So,
yeah, I'm excited. I'm finally something is working. And one of my goals, I had to go on not blood pressure, but I've got high cholesterol.
Okay.
So I want to get off the Crestor.
That's it. The Crestor is a great drug, by the way. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. If you can take care of it, if you can obviate the need for the Crestor naturally by really getting thin, great. And if it almost sounds to me like your cholesterol wasn't as bad when you were thinner, maybe.
No, it wasn't, and everybody told me it was because I was old. I turned 50.
So then it probably is a weight effect. It probably is an inflammatory effect, right?
I hope so. Yeah, I would like to get off of it.
Well, all we can do is we can see. Let me tell you this. Let's say you get down to perfect, brilliant weight, and your cholesterol is still a little bit too high. Well, that's just, that's your genes, whatever.
Hereditary.
Oh well. Think about all the other benefits, though, from getting thin. I mean, they're just endless. So many other dramatic benefits. I mean, usually people focus on one thing and they just want to accomplish there's one reason why they want to lose the weight. They want to do it for their arthritis. The pain in their knees is so bad. The pain in their hips is so bad. It's the only reason why they want to lose the weight. And if they lose all the weight and the pain isn't absolutely gone, they think, well, they may think, oh, that wasn't worth it. But then the reality is there's so many other benefits to losing the weight. You look great, you feel amazing, you think more clearly, just your senses are heightened. I mean, your nerve transmissions work better. Everything's just better. So, as I say, even if you don't come off the Crestor complete, I think you very well may come off it, but even if you don't, still the benefits are endless.
Yeah, I've noticed, it's funny you said arthritis. I've noticed my knees don't hurt from the 16 pounds that are gone. It made a huge difference. And
that's for two reasons. I mean, obviously we have a mechanical reason, right? Because you now have 16 less pounds. Think of a bowling ball that you would roll down, to hit, right? That thing's pretty heavy, right? So you now have one bowling ball less that you're carrying around in your body. That's a big amount of weight. But even more importantly, you have less inflammation. I mean, here's a perfect example, okay? So our extra fat secretes these interleukins, like IL-1, IL-6 in particular. What they'll do is they'll signal the white blood cells in your body, in the case of arthritis, to literally go into your joints and eat little holes, punch little holes, or eat away at this thing called cartilage, which is a buffer between our, maybe the femur and the tibia fibula in your knees. Literally being destroyed by an inflammatory process from white blood cells eating up the cartilage that's protecting that joint. That
just
is
from the weight.
That's being triggered by fat cells that are sending the white blood cells into your joints. So you've got both a mechanical benefit by losing the weight because you now have that much less weight on the joint itself. But even more importantly, it's an anti-inflammatory benefit because we're not sending as many white blood cells in to destroy the joints. There's our tremendous benefit, right? And for me, a lot of it's mechanical. A lot of what's going on with our body is mechanical. But for me, for many of my patients, I try and emphasize you're ignoring the oftentimes bigger picture, and that is the inflammatory source. A lot of inflammation is sort of vague, or it's hard to sometimes put your finger on. But I try and explain it on a chemical level as best as I can to people that our immune system, our white blood cells are designed to fight off bad things, but in the process of doing so, release chemicals and actually cause damage. It's sort of like, I guess, if there's a big fire and you call up the fire department to put out the fire, yeah, that's what their job is. They're part of the defense system, and they'll hose down the fire. But all that hosing, it does a lot of damage to the remaining part of the building, and there's water damage outside and whatever. I mean, there's damage being caused when our immune system is activated, even though it is designed to lyse bad bacteria and things that, insults to the body. It'll take care of that. But in the process, it also destroys the good tissue or bothers the good tissue. And when we develop enough anti-inflammatories in the body, enough of these interleukins, cytokines that are coming from our fat cells, what happens is it's just driving the white blood cells to act indiscriminately against everything, just releasing their chemicals and causing all kinds of damage. That's the state of inflammation. That's what we want to reduce. And it's not surprising then that so many different organ systems are all stemming from one source. I mean, people say to me, gosh, Dr. Lewis, you sound like, losing weight is the cure-all. It solves everything. Well, in essence, it does, because everything is a cascading effect that stems from weight here. I mean, not everything, but, to a tremendous extent, much more so than most people realize. But, for me, who studies the subject, I certainly do realize it, and then I'm trying to, impart some of that passion to some of my patients and you all, of course.
Oh, I appreciate it. I've been really motivated by you, so thank you.
You bet. That's what I'm here for, right? So, okay. So, all right. So anyway, I think it's about ready to go off. I think pretty soon here anyway, that little buzzer will come up. Any last questions? No? Thanks for joining, guys. I mean, really thank you, because you know what? Over the last time there was one person here, you guys, there's two, but I just fear that it's great to be able to watch these videos at your time, at your convenience. But if I don't have anybody here to talk to, then there's no video to create, right? So thanks for coming. And I think the first time that nobody shows up, everyone's going to suddenly come on the next day, because everyone, we like to watch these videos, and they sort of inspire us. So, but thanks for coming so much. I really appreciate it. And please try and make it again next week.
Sure. Thank you. And nice to meet you, Neil.
Very nice.
Take care.
Nice to meet you, Kathy. First time.
Thank you. Thank you for your help.
Hopefully we can see you guys next week.
Sure.
Okay.
Bye.
We'll see you later.